Ethan pulled me along to a dinner party. In the corner, his assistant was being bullied. An assistant wouldn't normally receive an invitation. So why was she even here? The bald man pinched her chin, forcing her to drink, saying if she complied, the project would be signed. Jessica forced a smile through the tears as she gulped down the drink. She cast a quick glance at Ethan, staring at him for a moment. Then, flustered, she suddenly looked down, probably afraid that Ethan would see her in such a pathetic state. The bald man wrapped his arm around her waist, showing his teeth as he whispered, "Sweetheart, you're so beautiful. Why don't you come with me?" Jessica's face turned pale as she shook her head, rejecting him. Ethan draped his jacket over my shoulders, gently advising, "Be careful, don't catch a cold." He smiled, looking relaxed, as if he hadn't seen what just happened. But his actions betrayed him. He seemed to be aimlessly walking with me, but actually, he was heading straight towards Jessica. "Mr. Ethan." Jessica choked out his name. I didn't understand. The organizer was close to her, a simple shout would have gotten their attention. Fine, even if she didn't know who the organizer was, she could easily tell who the security guard was. The security guard wasn't far, a shout would do the trick. Why did she have to blatantly provoke me in front of everyone like this? Ethan furrowed his brow and tightened his grip on my hand. The bald man got bolder, his hands creeping up her waist. Jessica, eyes red, looked at Ethan in despair, mouthing the words. "Help me." Ethan finally stopped pretending. He released my hand and walked straight to Jessica. He snatched the bottle from the bald man's hand, his voice rising with anger. "What kind of occasion is this? How dare you bully a young woman?" The bald man didn't want to escalate the situation, so he fled in defeat. Jessica hurriedly stood up, hiding behind him like a helpless little kitten, finally finding someone to protect her. How laughable. This hero saves the damsel scene was being played out in front of me. I walked up to Ethan, suppressing my anger and muttered, "I'll call security. You need to come with me." I gave him face, not making a scene at this event. I also considered Jessica's safety. Any problem could be handled privately. But this man in front of me didn't appreciate it. He yelled at me. "How can you be so cold? Look at what they've done to her." The guests looked over at him. He only glared at me. As if I was the culprit behind this drama. I kept my face stony, silent. He seemed to realize he went too far and softly said, "I didn't mean it that way. I just don't want to see my staff being bullied." I snorted. "If you didn't want to see bullying, why are you here?" "She won't be bullied," I said, fiddling with my ring, "so, can you come with me now?" I was confident he'd follow me. The next moment, a loud slap rang out, a move that could only be described as a slap in the face. "April, take off your jacket." My mind went blank, and before I could react, the black jacket was pulled from my shoulders and draped over Jessica. Only later did I realize Jessica's cheap dress had a small tear in it. A gust of wind blew through, and it was really a bit cold.
This audio is originally produced by the YouTube channel, Love Short Story. Please credit when sharing.
I laughed through my anger, not hesitating to take off my ring and fling it at him. "Marry whoever you want. It will never be me." Everyone in the room was quietly watching the drama unfold. A round of applause came unexpectedly. Brent walked from the dark corner to stand in front of Ethan. "Mr. Ethan, what a coincidence, bumping into you here. Wasn't that obvious? All the rich and powerful from half of a city were here." He pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses and continued with a sly grin. "Did you get dumped?" He circled around in front of me, giving a thumbs up. "Well done." I shot him a glare. This guy was still as annoying as he was back in school. Ethan bent down, picked up the ring, and angrily questioned me, "What do you mean?" I was just helping her. "You want to break off the engagement?" Helping her, covering her medical bills, helping her find a job, giving her a ticket to this event, and leaving me in an awkward position. "Ethan, you're helping too much." "Helping her? What's the point of security if you're going to help her?" He awkwardly scratched his nose, speechless. All eyes were on us, and Brent exhaled a puff of smoke, chuckling as he watched Ethan. Ethan's voice softened again as he tried to soothe me. "If it were you helping another man, I wouldn't mind at all. So basically, he's magnanimous, and I'm just petty. It's honestly disgusting." Brent mocked him. I didn't expect Mr. Ethan to be so generous, willing to let his fiancée go. Taking the opportunity, he boldly asked, "Since you're so generous, how about giving your company to me?" Ethan clenched his teeth and shot back, "Go away, find somewhere else to cool off." Brent leaned back on the sofa, responding slowly, "I think it's pretty cool here. I'm really curious to see how Mr. Ethan gets his fiancée back." He casually took a drag on his cigarette, looking like he was enjoying the drama. I quickly reminded him, "Ex-fiancée." "Right, ex-fiancée. Got to be precise, got to be precise. I'll make sure to speak carefully." Brent laughed aloud. Channing, the event organizer, came over. Brent looked at him, tapping the sofa, grinning, "Sit down, enjoy the show." Channing sat down at my surprised glance. Brent even handed him sunflower seeds. "What's there to watch? He used to compete with me in school, and now he wants to watch me fail." The more I thought about it, the more wronged I felt, and tears welled up in my eyes. Ethan quickly came over and took my hand. "Don't cry, I really was just helping her." Before I could speak, Jessica, holding her stomach, weakly spoke, "Mr. Ethan, could you take me to the hospital?" Brent stared at me coldly, then turned his icy gaze on Ethan. Ethan turned his head, not looking back. He was going to help her again. I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Hoping he would turn back for me, hoping he'd come with me. I was truly asking for too much. A man like this, always looking at something else while enjoying what's in front of him, never thinks he's in the wrong, and even makes himself feel like a hero. Being with him in the future would be tiring, and I'd never feel secure. I wrenched my hand from his, coldly saying, "Go help her." "April." Behind us, Jessica kept calling his name, her lips pale and pained. Brent stood up, his gaze darkening. "Mr. Ethan sure is busy, always helping this and that. When are you going to help me, and hand over your company?" He kept pushing, sounding like he might act on his threats. I walked slowly toward the door, and as I looked back, I admit I wanted him to stop me, even just for a moment. After all, I'd invested my heart in this relationship. But he didn't. When I turned back, I saw Ethan carefully supporting Jessica. His hand rested on her waist, her head resting against his chest. Such an intimate gesture, yet he dismissed it all with just the word "help." I decisively kept walking, tears welling in my eyes but not falling. Once I crossed that door, I wouldn't look back. My heart was too precious to be trampled on. I will never go back to him. "April." Brent called out to me, out of breath. "Why are you in such a rush? Are you trying to rush into the next life or something? Go away." I was already annoyed, and now he was mocking me. The most embarrassing moment, seen by the person I used to clash with the most back when we were younger. I really felt like crying. To my surprise, he didn't argue with me. Instead, he opened the car door and grinned at me. "How about a drink? Dare you?" The moonlight was soft, and I was already furious. "Who do you think you're talking to?" He dragged me to a bar. The lights were dim, and the noise was overwhelming. Drinks were set in front of me, and I just drank them without caring. Brent stood beside me, watching. After downing a few drinks, my face flushed, and I felt dizzy. Just as I was reaching for another shot, Brent stopped me, his hand on mine. "You're trying to kill yourself with that much alcohol?" I struggled to open my blurry eyes, gritting my teeth. "Don't mind me." Determined, I reached for another drink. He didn't stop me, instead, he took a shot himself. "Go ahead, drink up. You wanted to get drunk, I'll keep you company." He took another drink. As he raised his glass again, I grabbed it from his hand. Brent looked at me, eyes playful. "Go ahead, drink. I'm watching." I lifted my glass, but as it touched my lips, I couldn't help but feel tears rising. I cursed angrily, "That scumbag. Who does he think he is to treat me like this? I'm the one who's supposed to break people's hearts. Wait till I go back and ruin his money tree." Brent leaned in closer, his voice soft. I'll help you water it." I wiped my tears and sniffled. "Let's team up and bankrupt him." "Okay, I'll follow your lead." As I cried, I ended up in his arms, the heat of my body growing stronger. He placed his hand on my waist, his warm breath near my ear. "Is it more comfortable here, or in his arms?" Without thinking, I answered, yours. He smiled contentedly. He pointed to his lips, teasing me. Do these look good? For some reason, I nodded. He took my finger, gently tracing it along his lips. His voice was deep and magnetic. Had enough of drinking? Want to try something else? I stared at his lips. Try what? He led me step by step, pressing my finger to his lips, his voice low. Try these. I promise they're sweet. Riding on the alcohol, I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him. At the height of it, I suddenly stopped, tugging at his tie. Brent, take me home. He paused for a second, then slowly took his hands off my waist, giving me a helpless smile. All right. I walked out of the bar in a daze, Brent trailing behind me. The cool breeze brushed against my face, making me feel a bit better. I stumbled toward the car, the street lights dim. I tripped over a rock and fell. My knee scraped the skin, and it hurt badly. I sat on the ground, silently staring at the rock with teary eyes. Everything went wrong after meeting that scumbag. Brent stood in front of me, his shadow long and looming. I looked up at him, and he sighed. I've seen dumb people, but not as dumb as you. Before I could react, he bent down, lifting me up into his arms, walking briskly forward. I stared at him, letting out a shrill scream. Ah, what are you doing? He suddenly stopped, tightened his grip on me, and gave me a mischievous grin. Can't you feel it? I'm carrying you. He glanced down at my wound and said, if you don't want to feel the pain, be good. The alcohol made me feel hot, my head dizzy, and my leg ached occasionally. I didn't want to walk anymore, so I tightened my hold around his neck. The white street lights mixed with the scent of wild grass, and he smiled, darkly amused. I caught a hint of jasmine and tobacco mixed in his scent and snuggled closer to him, closing my eyes. Be good. I lazily answered, got it. Suddenly, my stomach churned, and I knew something wasn't right. I pushed Brent's chest with force, but he didn't understand, still holding me tight. The sour taste of acid hit my mouth, and I threw up all over him. Embarrassed, I glanced at him. It's not my fault. He wouldn't let me go when I told him to. I warned him. Brent looked at his jacket, speechless. Well, that's what he gets for mocking me. I sighed, knowing I was in the wrong, but I still tried to save face. How much was your jacket? I'll pay you back. I have plenty of money, I could buy 10 if I wanted to. To ease the awkwardness, I added softly, sorry, though. I did warn you, it's your fault for not letting me go. He quickly took off his jacket and walked over to me, asking, so, your way of warning me was by touching my chest? My face burned with embarrassment. Flustered, I pointed at him, blurting out, what are you thinking? I was so sick I couldn't speak. Don't worry, even if all the men in the world died, I still wouldn't choose you. He didn't answer, but his expression grew serious. He casually tossed his jacket into the trash can. Then, he pulled me into his car and roughly buckled my seatbelt. I'm not sure which part one said wrong, but he seemed mad. The atmosphere in the car could freeze someone. I leaned against the window, watching the night scenery, my heart heavy as I reflected on everything that had happened today. I'm about to marry Ethan, and yet he still doesn't care about boundaries. I try so hard to appear strong, but deep down, I just crave love. Am I not enough? Out of nowhere, I asked Brent. Seriously, are you laughing at me? I sniffled, feeling wronged. After all these years, you're still mocking me. No. He said no, but I didn't believe him. He used to love mocking me. If I scored 1 point less than him, he'd call me a fool. Someone like him could never not mock me. He continued seriously, I never mocked you, I only pity you. Pity me? I turned my gaze back to the window, my eyes moist. I never expected him to be the first to say he pitied me. My parents were in a business marriage, and I was the result of that lack of love. They'd been entangled with each other for a lifetime, hating each other the whole time. They wanted to separate, but their interests were always tied together. In the face of huge profits, everything could be endured. But my existence constantly reminded them that they had to live with someone they didn't love. In April's world, money was never lacking, only love was missing. That longing inside me grew like wild grass, thriving in the dark nights. My dad had a mistress, and so did my mom. Of course, I had many half-siblings. My parents only treated the children they liked well, celebrating their birthdays, taking them on trips. Compared to those half-siblings, I was the one who couldn't even stand on the stage. My real parents never remembered my birthday. Every year, I'd have to blow out the candles alone in the dark, silently making the same wish. I hope next year my parents can spend my birthday with me. I hope they'll come back. Tears mixed with the cake, year after year. My wishes never came true. Wishes are just for comforting children. After eating enough cake, I'm no longer a child. I gradually realized I was dispensable to them. I met Brent in high school. He was much luckier than me, his family was wealthy, and his parents loved him deeply. He was also the one who sparked my competitive streak. I wanted to beat him in exams, to prove that even if no one in this world loved me, I could still live well. But no matter how hard I tried or how much money I spent on tutors, he always scored just a little higher than me. After every mock exam, he would mock me. I did better than you again. Next time, I'll definitely beat you again. I would always glare at him and then pick up my pen, determined to keep pushing forward. The sunset was beautiful just before the college entrance exam. He leaned over my desk, smiling as he asked, "April, which school do you want to apply to?" Back then, seeing him just annoyed me. It wasn't so much his arrogance or his pride, but rather jealousy. Jealous that he was born in the light, loved by everyone without doing anything, and that he was so exceptional. I rolled my eyes and thought for a few seconds, then quietly told him I was going to apply to a university. In reality, I wanted to go to B University, but I lied because I was afraid he'd try to compete with me for a spot. I must be a strange person, with serious character flaws. I was trying so hard to be strong, yet deep down, I was insecure, so insecure that I resorted to such petty tricks to ensure I would win. When the admission letters came, he angrily confronted me. "Why did you change schools?" I didn't even lift my eyelids. "I changed my mind. I don't want to go to that school anymore." He gritted his teeth and said, "April, you really don't have a heart. A heart can only grow with flesh and blood." Over the years, I had always been cold inside, so how could I have a heart? I bit my lip and tried not to let my tears fall. "I hate you. Go away." He snorted and left without looking back. Youthful emotions are beautiful, and I was a highly sensitive person. How could I not notice what he meant when he asked me that? But I really was insecure, deeply insecure. People who have lived in darkness for so long are unaccustomed to the light. For 4 years, he didn't contact me, and I never reached out to him either. From then on, he was in the south, and I was in the north, one in the south, one in the north, living separate lives. It was fine like that. Ethan was my college classmate. He was poor, from a difficult background, but he gave me a love that no one else could. After graduation, I even used my family connections to help him. When his company went public, I was so excited that I didn't sleep the whole night. When he proposed to me, I was moved to tears and agreed without hesitation. I thought his love for me was the love I had always longed for. But as we were about to get married, I realized that he could be this kind to anyone. All the special treatment I thought I was getting was nothing. Round and round, I ended up back where I started, alone, in the dark, living a muddled life. A life where everything felt predictable. When I saw Brent again, to be honest, I was conflicted. I didn't know how to face him. But based on the current situation, I was worrying too much. Thankfully, he hadn't given those old memories much thought. Brent parked the car downstairs at my place, and I still leaned against the window. The after effects of the alcohol were strong, and I felt even more dizzy now. Brent cleared his throat and said calmly, "We're here." I turned to look at him, blushing. Then I quickly reached for the door handle. But it was as if the door handle was dead. No matter what, I couldn't open it. I turned back and looked at him obediently, saying, "I can't open it." He leaned over, his body angled towards me. The narrow car exuded a strong scent of hormones. How could he be so handsome? Especially his double eyelids, which looked so captivating under the dim light. "Brent," I couldn't help but call his name. "Mm?" He turned quickly, his face mere inches from mine. The soft moonlight streamed into the car, creating just the right atmosphere. It doesn't feel sweet enough, I said, leaning forward slightly to rub my nose against his. I'm still a bit thirsty. I need you to quench my thirst. The door that had just been opened was slammed shut. He placed one hand on my head, his voice low and husky. Then I'll keep quenching your thirst.
You're listening to Love Short Story, a YouTube channel dedicated to captivating short stories. Let's continue.
His kiss was aggressive, prying open my lips, tangling with mine, over and over. When we got out of the car, he smiled and asked, "Aren't you going to invite me to your place?" "Sure, it's not impossible if you want to come in for some water." I clutched my bag with both hands and nodded at him. He bent down, took my bag, and walked beside me. In the elevator, I couldn't resist and kissed him. The small space only had the two of us, and a camera. Alcohol really was a great thing, it gave me courage. But his response was a bit too strong, the kiss made my legs go weak. He pressed me against the wall, one hand around my waist, as if afraid I might fall. I was pressed against his chest, the wall cold on my back while his warmth enveloped me. Suddenly, he stopped, as if realizing something. My face flushed, breathing heavily, my eyes gazing at him with a damp look. What's wrong?" The air felt hot. He pointed to the camera and, touching my hair, smiled mischievously. "Camera? So what? There aren't many people watching in my world." I stood on my tiptoes, pulling at his tie, leaning close to his lips to whisper. "It's fine. Let them watch for free." Then, I kissed him again. From one corner of the wall to the other, from me pressed against the wall to him pushing me against it. As I entered the password to unlock the door, Brent stopped my hand. "Are you sure?" I tilted my head and blew into his ear. "Didn't you say you wanted to come in?" Suddenly, he lifted me in a Princess Carrie and whispered in my ear. "Don't regret it later." I pecked his face, holding his neck. How could I regret it? He placed me on the couch and began unbuttoning his shirt. The air conditioning was blowing, but I felt like I was in a furnace, burning up with heat and thirst. Especially after seeing his abs. I couldn't stop staring at them. He looked down at my gaze and then smiled at me provocatively. He played with my pinky finger, casually asking, "Do you like it?" "It's beautiful. I want to touch it." I couldn't stop staring, feeling like I might drool. He grabbed my hand, guiding it to feel his abs. So firm, such a nice feel. I got closer to him and finally ended up sitting on his lap. One hand went into my hair, the other lifted my skirt. Just as the tingling sensation spread, my phone rang abruptly on the coffee table. It displayed Ethan. What a buzzkill. Brent stopped, glanced at the phone, then picked it up and answered it. An anxious voice came from the other end. "Why aren't you back yet? Can you stop being so petty?" I was just helping her. Brent handed me the phone. Ethan's voice was cold. "Where are you?" Brent lightly bit my earlobe. "Right on the sensitive spot." A warm current spread in my ear, accompanied by a magnetic voice. "Be serious." Ethan's tone was urgent. "April, what are you doing?" "I'll come find you." Brent snatched the phone from my hand and lazily said, "Why don't you listen to what we're doing?" Ethan was furious, shouting, "April, do you know we're about to get married?" I extended my finger toward Brent's face. "What I know is, if the ring's gone, it means she's the ex-girlfriend." He lowered his head and sucked on my finger, then taunted Ethan. "Aren't you okay with it? Then she belongs to me." "Ethan, you." The phone was hung up. There was a lollipop on the table, which he unwrapped and popped into his mouth. The white candy made his lips appear so red. I stared at him, unconsciously leaning in closer. He asked knowingly, "Want some?" My cheeks turned pink, and I nodded blankly. The next second, he cupped my head and kissed me, the strawberry flavor spreading. His hand tightened around my waist, and his fingers moved lower. Sweat dripped from his forehead onto my eyelashes, falling with my tears. "I love you, April," he kissed the corner of my eye. "I've always loved you." When I woke up, Brent was still sound asleep. What happened yesterday was so explosive, well, maybe not explosive, but definitely awkward. So I tiptoed around, picked up the clothes on the floor, and went to deal with my ex-boyfriend. As soon as I opened the car door, I remembered that piece of clothing from yesterday. It must have been expensive. Without hesitation, I transferred $50,000 to Brent and then went to meet Ethan with some lip balm and hot water. If this building didn't have me, I'm not sure if it would even have been built. There were flowers and plants on both sides of the lobby. Ethan said they were to ensure his business would thrive. He really believed in this stuff, and sometimes, so did I. After all, most of what I have today wasn't earned through my own struggle, it was a gift from the heavens. But if Ethan dares to embarrass me publicly, then I'll shatter his beliefs. I walked straight to the spot where he kept the money tree. 1 cup of hot water, 2 cups of hot water, drown you. Little sapling, drink up, the sooner you die, oh no, I mean, grow strong. What are you doing? Jessica let out a dolphin-like shriek. Ethan rushed over when he heard her, his brows furrowed, bending down to test the water temperature before quickly pulling back. Did you do this? I openly admitted, yes. I was ready to argue with him. But he waved at Jessica, signaling her to leave. April, consider it my mistake. Please forgive me. He quietly took out the ring, trying to hold my hand. I quickly pulled my hand behind my back and adjusted my sunglasses. Didn't you hear everything yesterday? He looked desperate. He's trying to destroy my company by targeting you. I couldn't help but laugh. Your little company? Brent doesn't even care about it. He forced a smile, tears in his eyes, but... April, you still love me, right? You were just drunk. I rolled my eyes behind my sunglasses. I was drunk, not stupid. This guy must be out of his mind if he thinks I'd accept this. There were only 2 possibilities, either he loved me to the core, or he was just using me. When I'm foolish, I'm really foolish, but when I'm clear-headed, I know exactly what's going on. He definitely didn't love me to the core. I don't love you anymore. The moment my coat was taken off, I cut ties with you. No. That's impossible. He grabbed my hand tightly. Mr. Ethan, my mom. Jessica rushed in, choking on her words, she's dead. I quickly pulled away and sneered, I've investigated everything about her identity. You think I'm an idiot? Who sent her the invitation? Why was she at that place? You're such a good guy, hurry up and help her. Ethan stood there in shock. I grabbed the ring and threw it on the ground. Jessica, not grieving for her mother, scolded me, Miss April, how can you be so cold and selfish? Shut up. You have no right to lecture me. Ethan's family lived in the East District of the town, while Jessica's family was in the West District. Jessica's father died early, and she had been dependent on her mother since childhood. Ethan had known her since they were kids, and he was 3 years older than her. It wasn't hard to investigate these things. When I first met Ethan, I didn't pay much attention to them. I thought he treated her like a little sister, and he explained that to me. I quietly told myself that it was just family love. Since I had never experienced family love, I envied how close they were. But later, I started to feel something was off. They weren't related by blood, and even though they lived in the same small town, their homes were far apart. Why was Jessica always clinging to him? Why did he not only donate money but also care for her mother when she was seriously ill? Why did he let her work as his assistant, taking care of her at work? Looking back, I was really naive. He said he was just helping his sister, and I believed him. Countless times I felt jealous, but he would just say it was to help. He even stripped the coat off me in front of a crowd to cover her. I didn't think I was a good person. On many dark nights, I wondered, although I wore the ring he gave me, would I really marry him? We weren't from the same class. His company, though successful, couldn't compare to my family's business. Even if my parents didn't like me, I was still the rightful sole heir. So, did I love him, or was I just trying to find a trace of love in his kindness? My thoughts were interrupted by my phone ringing. Brent angrily asked. April, what do you mean by this? Am I only worth $50,000? After spending a night with me, are you going to deny it? I was really fed up with him. This was just to pay for the clothes. Besides, in love stories, the male lead is often given only $200 by the girl. I gave him $50,000, what's he complaining about? Are you out of your mind? This is to pay for your clothes. He exploded again. Do I need you to pay me for the clothes? From now on, won't all my money be yours? His money was mine? Why? Don't tell me you don't want to take responsibility and just walk away. Wait, why again? I didn't do anything wrong to him. Where did you go? Why is it that every time I wake up, you're gone? Let me track your location. Wait. What were you doing at Ethan's? Don't move, I'll be right there. He lowered his voice. The call ended. Brent arrived at the scene in 3 seconds. I stood with my arms crossed, wearing my sunglasses. Jessica was still crying beside me, and compared to me, Ethan was closer to her. He would glance at her now and then, full of concern. Shouldn't a normal person be dealing with their mother's funeral? Who would sit idly by and cry to their boss? The more I watched these two, the angrier I became. I regretted investing all that money in Ethan. Now, I could have transferred several 50,000s to Brent. But luckily, Brent was impulsive. He rushed in and punched Ethan twice in the face, causing him to bleed from his nose. Jessica was scared, her face pale, and kept backing away. Brent didn't stop, and fearing something bad might happen, I rushed to pull him back. Ethan smiled bitterly at me, a glint of conspiracy in his eyes. He coldly mocked. There are cameras in the room, you wouldn't want this video to get out, right? The black camera sat silently in the corner. I stepped in front of Brent, pointing at it. What do you want to do? He sneered and looked at the ring. April, I didn't expect you'd go this far for him. Sorry, I'm your ex-girlfriend. The one who's about to marry you is me, not him. I'm your ex-girlfriend. His eyes turned red, laughing before returning to his calm demeanor. Ex-girlfriend? Cold, sly black eyes glinted with cunning. Fine, just give me what I want, and you can take the video. I'll let you two be. Brent walked up to him, speaking every word slowly, You're not human. That sentence hit me like a bullet, and my heart was in turmoil. I never imagined things would end this way between us. Was everything he did for me just because of my money? I bitterly smiled to myself. I'm so unlucky, the more I long for something, the less I get it. Brent walked over and grabbed my hand. We're leaving. I followed behind him, feeling cold all over, only able to feel his hand burning hot. The surroundings were dead quiet, while Ethan's comforting voice to Jessica was deafening. It was noisy, and I felt disgusted beyond measure. Brent handled everything. He didn't let me get involved. Every time I saw him, I felt a little guilty. When we applied to college, I lied to him, and then I slept with him, making him spend so much money. Recently, he released a new car, and these past few days, his name has been everywhere on TV and phones. There's been quite a bit of talk about him, too. He's rich and handsome, I'm going crazy. Please let me have a boyfriend like that before I die. Please don't try to use this to live forever. People really say anything these days. To keep Brent from getting a big head, I kindly replied. Actually, he's just average. Was that slandering him? I felt even more guilty. But others don't know who I am, so they can just think I'm fantasizing about him. Thinking that way made me feel much better. When I opened my phone again, I was shocked by the 99+ messages. But what shocked me the most was Brent's reply. Are you dissatisfied? That basically meant he was admitting it. He really made a fool of himself this time. The whole internet now knew his skills were lacking. If his skills are lacking, his PR team better be on point. The doorbell rang. The delivery guy was quick, definitely 5 stars. I opened the door without any defense and was suddenly grabbed by the back of my head and kissed. It was Brent. He cupped my face and lifted me onto the table to kiss me. No wonder you transferred money to me. The air conditioning was off, and I was blushing from the kiss, my brain getting lightheaded as I gasped for air. Are you crazy? You kiss me as soon as you see me. We have no relationship. He placed his hands on the table, trapping me, and said with a hurt expression. You're not going to take responsibility after sleeping with me? This was something we both agreed on. If you didn't want it, I wouldn't have slept with you. What responsibility? Really, I didn't even ask for you to take responsibility. He laughed in frustration, leaning in to kiss me again, and then lightly bit my lip. Can you take responsibility? I seriously wanted to slap him, but he held both my hands with one hand, making it impossible for me to move. I bit my lower lip and turned my head away, not answering. He sneered and grabbed my face with his other hand, kissing me again. I really started to wonder if he was a teddy bear. He asked again. "Can you take responsibility?" I looked at his handsome face and replied. "You know my parents don't love me. I'm very sensitive. If you show any neglect, I'll back off." He pulled me into his arms. "Someone loved you a long time ago, and someone will always love you." I couldn't help but feel tears welling up and softly said, "Then I'm willing to take responsibility." The day Brent and I registered our marriage, Ethan was caught for tax evasion and sent to prison. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter, and Jessica disappeared too. When I went to see him, he looked defeated, his eyes bloodshot and covered in stubble. He sighed and reached for the phone beside him, giving a helpless smile. Through the glass window, I saw his lips move, and I could hear his defeated voice. "I didn't expect you to be the first to visit me. Yeah, we did have a past. But I won't be visiting you again." His eyes reddened, and he stayed silent for a few seconds. Just as I was about to hang up and leave, I saw him open his mouth, clearly saying, "I'm sorry." When I walked out, the sun was blazing. Brent was waiting for me under a dappled tree, sweat dripping down his face. I really wanted to tell Ethan, if I had known it would be like this, why bother in the first place? Some people will see you as a budding flower, and others will treat you like an ant, ready to sell you out for their own benefit. So, never look back, never ever. I wiped the sweat off Brent's face and took his hand. "Let's go home." After being with Brent, he always hugs me and says I smell nice. My mom always complains that I smell like sweat after exercising in my teenage years, but Brent always pinches my face and says, "Baby, you smell so good." I never thought I had a scent, and I've never worn perfume. He seriously told me. My body knew before my brain did. "I love you, and from the moment I was born, my genes chose you for me." I took the initiative to snuggle into his arms, deeply touched, and said, "I love you." He patted my head. "You should thank me. All these years, I've been quietly guarding you from the shadows." He told me that in our first year of college, on a snowy day, he came to find me. I was standing with a boy, Ethan. The snow was falling heavily, and he was hiding behind a wall, watching me walk past with Ethan, sharing an umbrella. I remembered that day. Ethan was chasing me, and it was snowing heavily. After 2 or 3 hours, there was already 3 centimeters of snow on the ground. I went out for self-study and didn't bring an umbrella. In the South, he only stayed for a few months, but this winter felt exceptionally cold to him. He leaned against the wall and laughed bitterly, remembering what I always said. "Brent, I hate you." He said, at that time, he was heartbroken and anxious. He wanted to rush in front of me and ask, but he was afraid I would cry and say, "Brent, I hate you." When I heard this, I felt such strong empathy. We were both proud in front of outsiders, but extremely insecure in front of the ones we loved. So what happened next? He said that later, the snowflakes covered his black coat in white. He watched me return to the dorm and left that night. At that moment, he was like a cowardly thief, wanting to steal a treasure but too weak to do it. Every year after that, he came to check on me, to see how I was growing and how I ended up with Ethan. He said, every year after that, he came just to see that I was living well in another place. I couldn't hold back the tears, and he wiped them away and continued telling me. Later, he listened to his family and came back to inherit the family business, just to be closer to me. He was so jealous. He envied Ethan for being by my side. He was jealous when he saw me laughing and talking with Ethan. So he crushed Ethan's company, but in the end, he left Ethan a way out because he was afraid I'd be heartbroken, afraid that after I married Ethan, life wouldn't be good for me. I held him tightly, not letting him say anything more. Luckily, fate turned, and I didn't miss out on you. The end.
This story is exclusively produced by the YouTube channel Love Short Story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe.